Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos. All right, I'm going to hit go. I swear I hear wind chimes. Do you have wind chimes?
I hear them.
I don't have wind chimes. That's the weirdest thing. Okay, all right, moving on.
Whatever that.
I have no idea.
I have wind chimes, but they're behind my house. And I don't hear them anymore, and I didn't hear them when I took my headphones off.
It's okay.
We're squirreling before we even start.
Yet. Good morning, ladies and maybe gentlemen. Maybe we have gentlemen.
I know we have at least one gentleman that
Awesome.
listens.
Hey guys, how are you? We are on to week 3 of lead generation. And this is one we do. This is one that so many people are like, oh, this is what I want to do to create business, right? Because they think that it's just like easy. And first of all, it's not. None of lead generation is meant to be easy. If you enjoy a certain aspect of lead generation, that's the part that makes it easy because it's something you enjoy doing, right? But none of this is just like leads just come pouring out and fall in your lap and your pipeline is full in 3 days and you're just handing out referrals to other people because you can't possibly handle all the business. That's not how this works.
No, that's not how this works at all.
No.
That reminds me, remember that commercial? I don't even remember what it was for, but it was like old ladies in a nursing home and they were trying to make their own Facebook on the wall. Like they'd printed pictures out and stuff. And the lady's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. That's every time someone says that's not how this works, I'm like, and I shipped my pants.
Mm-hmm.
That was another good commercial.
That was
But yeah,
a good commercial.
there definitely has to be strategy to your social media. There has to be, I would even call it technique because
yeah, I don't think that strategy is like, I mean, a lot of people use the word social media strategy, but it's not necessarily a strategy. It is, we're going to fall back to that word consistency, and technique is, I think that that's a much better.
Yeah.
Because it's not, we're not just like popping, Facebook, I'm a Facebook girly, right? I'm trying to morph into Instagram a little bit more this year. I'm going to be honest about that. I don't really focus a lot on Instagram, but I'm trying. I'm a Facebook
I have
girl.
them linked, but my Instagram has never been as successful. But I think I've started using, I hate the word strategy, but different things on there and I'm getting more pickup there. So agreed. I'm the same way. And TikTok, I'm like hit or miss. I go viral over something not real estate related and then I post something real estate related and the trolls come out and I'm like, whatever.
Isn't that terrible? I'm not on TikTok either, but Facebook for me is where I'm at. So Facebook memories pop up like, oh, 12 years ago, Brenna posted this status that's like vague, half of a song lyric, 3 emojis.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, Brenna. Seriously, you're so dramatic, a little passive aggressive, a little mysterious, right? That's not the technique that we're going for here, okay? That is not what is going to get people in your DMs. It's not.
But this is so dark. You know what does get people in your DMs?
Death.
Yeah.
God.
Sorry, Dad. But it's true.
Uh-huh.
So true. But I think the one thing, let's bring this back, is the strategy, the technique that you want though, is you want people to recognize you, you want them to know what you do, and you want to know how, want them to know how to start a conversation with you. Yes. That is your goal here.
Mm-hmm. And so, the plan is to put business with personal, right? So we are working on a 3 post a week framework. And that's like minimum. And there are people that I'm thinking of Cara Farah, like love her.
Girl.
She is on Facebook 24/7 and rocks out more than 100 deals a year. I love her. I'm obsessed with her stuff. I probably spend way too much time looking at her stuff than
I'm glad you said stuff. There was an awkward pause there.
Well, I'm just like, because she doesn't just post, it's not just her business videos, but she has really cool listing videos. She has really cool content. And then she's got stuff like a picture of her walking out of TJ Maxx or Marshall's. And it's like, hey, I just picked up some really cool, like, pearly jeans to wear to
Right.
work tomorrow, right? So it's a really good mix, but she's on there all the time. But here's the thing, I feel like people are like, oh, I'm going to post on social media every day. I'm going to be in the stories. I'm going to do all this stuff. And it happens for maybe a full week. And then and I'm guilty too, right?
Yep.
And then there's nothing. Right? Like, honestly, if my business wasn't so successful on social media, I wouldn't even have it.
Right. So, oh, same. I didn't have it for
Uh,
6 years
Yeah,
before I became a realtor. I didn't have it. I had to
I am
rebuild the
such
whole thing.
a 90s kid, meaning like I just I don't. I started sourdough recently. Like, and just I don't know,
Whoa.
it's dreadful. It's terrible, but I'm just like, the world is so fast paced, and I realize it with my kids too. Like, their attention spans are like going because
Right.
they have no. I'm like, absolutely not. So if my business again wasn't on social media so much, I wouldn't even have it. But here's the thing, you have to be consistent because we are building what they call that parasocial relationship, right? These
Right.
people want to feel like they're connected to you. That's how they have, when they do need to sell or they know somebody who needs to buy, they're like, oh, Brenna, oh, Alyssa, right? That's who I'm going to reach out to. So the
Right.
goal is for people to recognize you, to know what you do, and to know like who you are, how to have a conversation with you. Like you said, like if you're just posting, just sold, just listed, those kinds of things, they have no idea that you have, a rescue dog and two cats, or that I have three horses in the backyard and my kids are a little feral sometimes.
Right.
Those are the connection pieces that actually work.
And that your one horse turns orange when she plays in the dirt. I love
Yeah,
that.
God,
I love that
so
she
orange.
turns orange. I don't even like horses, and every time I'm like, "Oh, the pony's orange today. I love it."
I was
But no, that is you have to build that parasocial, like, I always use the Kardashians as an example. I
Mhm.
don't like them, but I know what's happening in their world because
Yep,
they've built such a platform with social media and now traditional media
yep.
that you can't avoid them. You
Mhm.
literally can't avoid them. So, let's talk about what the 3 posts are. So, your weekly structure, there's gonna be 3 types we want in there. Um, did you already cover this? I'm sorry.
Nope, I
Um,
didn't.
the first one is hyper local. This is where you wanna be like the authority builder, and people are
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, I see her everywhere. I know she likes coffee from this coffee shop," or last week she tried out the new restaurant and it was great. Um, or I'm gonna sneeze, hold on. You could post like 3 things people don't realize about living in whatever area. What 400,000 actually buys you in this neighborhood. I posted one once. I was going through one of probably the most expensive neighborhood in Gaston County. I mean, it's all a million or up in there. And I posted it and on TikTok and just said, "Would you believe me if I said this is Gaston County?" And everyone from Charlotte was like, "You're full of shit. This isn't it." And I was like, "Nope, this is Gaston County. It's Reflection Point. Bet you didn't
Mhm,
know."
mhm.
And like, because people don't know. So you want to show them the things they may not know, even if they live there. Because some people are like, where, like, they were like, I've lived in Gaston County my whole life. What neighborhood is this? And I was like,
Right.
it's Reflection Point. It's gated. That's probably why you don't know it
Well, and
exists.
that's the thing, there's people that live here or live in whatever area, and they've walked or driven the same streets, gone to the same stores, seen the same people, and they've never explored their town, right?
No.
Or their county or anything like that. And these are a great opportunity to be a local authority and throw in some real estate, or just be like, hey, I am at narrow gauge getting a, railway latte this week, right? You can have it just very personal. This is what I'm doing, grabbing a chicken sandwich from Geppetto's,
Right.
whatever it is. Or you can be like you said, throw in that neighborhood. If you live in XYZ, like, here are 3 things you should know before listing your house, right? And then
Right.
you're still tying in that local authority, but sprinkling in a tiny little bit of real estate. And don't just go all gung ho on the real estate part, right? Because again, we're
No.
trying to trying to build a following, build connection with people, and that local stuff seems to do really well.
Yeah, like, one of the ones I had that went really well, I had 2 on TikTok. One was we went to the Thirsty Beaver. Like, it's a Charlotte, I guess you could say, attraction now. It's this tiny dive bar, and I mean tiny dive bar, that has these giant apartment complexes literally built around it because the owner refused to sell. It went semi-viral locally. I did one about, Steve Smith was talking shit about the Panthers fans. The next thing I knew, I had 20,000 something views and likes on TikTok because it was local. It wasn't even local, but it was timely.
Mhm.
Like, it was a current event. So if there's something happening, something positive, or maybe you could take something negative and turn it into a positive,
Yep.
that's a great way too to show, "Hey, I know what's going on in this area. I'm on top of it." Like, because people, those are questions they're gonna ask. People don't always ask, "What are the schools? What's this?" They wanna know, "What's my commute like?
Mhm.
What's the what's the vibe like in this neighborhood?" You know? And you can't tell them, "Oh,
Yeah,
it's
we gotta
all"
it's all
right,
fair
but you
housing,
can
right?
say
We know
right,
those
you
rules.
can be like, "Oh, I love this neighborhood because you can walk to," and you have to be careful with the word walk for fair housing violation. I learned that one recently. Um,
Uh-oh. You got somebody breaking into your house?
just the Amazon guy.
She went
Um,
from her squeaky toy to she went from
could you
cute
hear
little
that? I
I
don't even know where she got that. I think she finally found, sorry guys, we're talking about Mabel. Um, my stepmom, someone got her a puzzle toy with 3 squeak toys in it. It's been sitting there since Christmas, and she
and now
hasn't
she's
touched it.
playing with it, yeah.
And now today while we're doing this, she's like, "Oh my
Of
god, it
course,
squeaks."
of
I'm
course.
like, "Great." Um,
There is no right or wrong format for these posts either, you guys. Like, if
no.
you are someone who's super comfortable on video and wants to do the talking head videos, great. Keep them. You don't have to make them 5-minute videos, 30 seconds, right? 60 seconds, something short, sweet that people are actually going to watch. You don't want people to fall off after 5 seconds and have no idea what the video is about because you started with, "Hi, I'm Brenna Stebbins from Hickory, North Carolina, and I'm here
Right,
to tell you that." No, nobody watches those videos.
right.
As
And I
simple
think
as a photo, like a photo of that latte at the coffee shop that you're at and a caption. Um, Something like that. Like they can be so so easy.
yes, and I think the other thing you need to include in there is a call to action.
Mhm.
Comment guide, and I'll send, if it's about a specific neighborhood and you have a guide for that, comment guide and I'll send you the neighborhood breakdown, or DM me Belmont and I'll tell you what homes, I'll send you a list of homes that are selling here. Um,
Well, and I think
Thinking
that
of moving here, message me. That's a great one. Hey,
mhm,
I like, that's gonna start that conversation of,
mhm.
yeah, send me a DM. Like, I live here or I visit here a lot. Let talk, like, send me a DM. We can talk about it.
And here's the thing too, this goes back to really knowing your avatar, your person that you're talking to, and that like dialing down into your area, right? Because like I service a lot of towns and a lot of areas, right? But am I going to market to all of those areas? Not necessarily because we've talked about this before, it spreads you so thin. You want to be like permeated through your whole local area, right? So we're not talking about making a guide for every individual neighborhood within 10 miles of you. We're talking about like if your avatar is buyers, relocation buyers, then you need to come up with a really, really good something, guide,
Right.
info sheet, cheat sheet, whatever you want to call it for that person. And then reuse that call to action in a million other different posts, right? Different words,
Right.
but it's the same thing that you've created. We're not trying to have a social media post that you have to create a lead magnet for each social media post that you're putting out, right? We want
Right.
easy, repeatable stuff.
Right. These are just the ones that are like, these are for the posts that are about your local content.
Hmm.
And if you don't have a guide or you don't know how to build one, I'm gonna hype them up. I just joined them last month. Coffee and Contracts. Get
Girl,
in there.
where you been? I've
Um,
had coffee and contracts for 4 years now.
I know, and you hardly ever use it.
Hmm.
But and not even for that, but Coffee and Contracts has, they'll help you build the content, but they will also teach you how to link it to a flow desk or link it to a um oh, what's that app that when people DM you?
Many chat.
Mini chat. so that it automatically does it. So you're not having to go back into your DMs. And obviously that's a next level thing, but get it. I also think Elevated Agent has some amazing templates out there for local content or your social media. Like, even if it's just the idea and you're like, I don't like their template, I'm going to do it a little different, go
Yep.
for it. But they both have, I'm partial to Elevated Agent. I've been with her for forever, but I'm really loving Coffee and Contracts too. Um, they have all sorts of stuff and you just pay a price and you download it and you make it yours and then it's done.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not like a commitment too, so both of those things are
no.
super awesome if you wanna give it a try.
Yeah. I think Elevated Agent for $5 a month, you get it in your text messages. You get 1 post a day. So there you go. Like, I mean, they're not all
Doesn't get much cheaper
glamorous and
than
everything.
that.
Right, $5 a month, y'all. She also does a $5 or $10 a month newsletter, and you just have to plug and play it. So
Yeah.
there's all sorts of stuff. So if you're like, "I don't know what to do for these," jump in there, get one of those.
Yep.
Okay, so the next type is educational. This is also again where you might need to use those templates, but um you want to become a trust builder. You want people to know that you know what you're talking about, that you know how to do your job.
Mhm.
Um you're not teaching them the contracts, but you're going to answer the questions that people are scared to ask. Like, how much money do I need to buy a house? How much money out of pocket? What's that look like?
Yeah. How much is due
Or
diligence? I get that
right,
so many times. How much is due
right.
diligence? Well, and that, like, people don't know. They don't know what they don't know, right? So there's
Exactly.
and you can go super specific, hyper local to your area, or generic and more broad, like the real reason buyers lose homes in multiple offer situations. And most of the time, I mean, there's a few reasons, but I would just say that it's like
Right.
the blind,
Right. Or you
DocuSign
can talk
drop into my inbox
right.
with no call, no email, no text from the agent, but that's just me.
Right. No, it's not just
Mm,
you. Trust me, I see a lot of agents complaining about that.
mhm,
But then I also see agents on the other side who are like, "Why does my conversation matter? You got the offer."
mhm.
And I'm like, "Because that dictates or tells me exactly what it's gonna be like to deal with you, and I don't wanna fucking deal with it." Or my clients don't wanna deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
no. Or I saw like the other thing you can do to be, the expert is talk about what you're experiencing.
Mhm.
Um, Kim Draculich, Kim, sorry if I butchered your last name, does that all the time. She's like, "Okay, so this is what just happened." And she just got one that someone took and wrote a whole news article about.
I
So,
saw that.
right? I was like, "That's pretty cool." But talk about what you're experiencing. That is knowledge. That shows that you know what's happening. Like,
And it
Ariel, if you're listening to this, you need to talk about what happened when your buyers changed their mind even though they negotiated everything they wanted. What
yes.
happened?
Well,
Like,
because
talk about it.
that makes it very real, right? You see, again, the agents that are posting, "Just listed, just sold, congratulations to my clients," but nobody's talking about the road that actually gets there, right?
Right.
It's like and I always equate this back to, like, motherhood and kids, but it's like when you have a kid and nobody told you all of the weird stuff that happens when you have a kid, right? They just talk about, oh, the baby's here and everybody's
Oh, you're
happy and it's
glowing.
amazing. Nobody talks about the stuff that like nobody wants to talk about because it's not fun.
Right.
Real estate's the same way. You have to like tell them about the low appraisal. Tell them about how your buyer literally just backed out for no reason because she had like a bad feeling that this wasn't going to
Right.
work out, you know? Talk
Or like
about the seller that pulled the speakers out of the wall and wanted to take them with them. Talk about those things because it makes you very real, makes you very relatable, and it makes real estate seem approachable to the
right.
everyday person.
Yes. Stay down, babes. Yes, absolutely. I think the most important word in that sentence is relatable because no matter if you do or don't know what you're doing, if people relate to you,
Mhm.
they will trust you.
Yep.
And I know that sounds so backwards because you're like, well, what if I don't know what I'm doing? Well, fake it till you make it, darling, or lean on your Bic or find a mentor to walk you through it.
Mhm.
But if people find you relatable, they will work with you.
Yeah, and there's a
Um,
like super simple, like it's not a huge. be a storyteller. And this comes really naturally to me. I like to tell stories, right? But name the problem, put it in words, what is happening, explain it to them in regular conversation, speak layman's terms, right? Not all the jargon and lingo that we use in real estate. Use English and be like, listen,
Mm.
this is what I did to fix it, or this is what happened. And
Right.
then, did you have something like this happen to you when you bought a house? Right? Start a conversation.
Right, exactly. And you could put a call to action with it. I don't think you have to, but I do think like you don't this isn't necessarily one where I would be like DM me start or
Mhm.
comment checklist. I know I have that in the notes here, but I think it would be more like, do you want to know more about this or how to handle this? Send me a DM.
Yeah,
Like that feels more
I find that the stories like that, like, create conversation by itself, and it ends up being, again, just a reminder that this is what Brenna does.
right. Yes. Yep. Um Agreed. So, okay, the third one is your personal and your behind the scenes. This is going to be a third pillar of content.
Mhm.
Um I knocked this one out of the park. um, this is the you're not oversharing and you don't have to share your whole life, but you want to like I don't know what time Kourtney Kardashian goes to bed, but I know like what pajamas she likes probably, like this is the you're sharing just enough.
Mhm.
Like I shared when Mabel had cancer, or I share when I go to like car meetups, or when Roxanne's being goofy and stupid, or I'm having fun with my nieces and nephews,
Mhm.
stuff like that. It doesn't have to be everything. And I think that's where people are like, I don't want to be at social media because the creepers will come out and they'll know everything about me. Well, no, I've never. I can't say I've never had a super creeper. I've had the oddball who's like, "Hi" every 30 days and you don't respond. Um, or the one who's like, "I hope your family has a Merry Christmas." I'm like, "I have no idea who you are." And like, you just keep messaging me every 30 days.
Mm.
But you don't have to give too much. You need to give just enough
Mhm.
to build that like if you're watching this right now, you can tell I have a cat. So this would be a great clip because here she is bothering me while trying to record. You can probably hear her purring. But you give just enough so that people have an idea of who you are and what you like. Um,
Yep.
or, hey, look, here's me mailing 800 Christmas presents to my clients. I didn't have to show the whole thing, but Roxanne, I showed like the Santa letters. I showed me mailing them because honestly, I forgot to film putting them together. Not a big deal, but I at least took the photo of the envelopes going out. People tagged me when they received their Christmas presents because they were like, "This was awesome, thank you so much." Stuff like that. Or, "This almost killed my deal, here's how we saved it." So
Mhm.
if it is more business. Um,
That's what I was gonna say, like, it can be like for Alyssa, she loves a drive-through McDonald's Diet Coke.
I do. I love Diet Coke.
So, she's gonna post a picture in of her Coke, right? And be
Right?
like, On my way to Belmont to show 3 properties today," right?
Yes.
It's a
Or
little
like
bit about
last week it was on my way home from Asheville and the Western North Carolina McDonald's for $5, you buy a koozie and then you get a free Diet Coke. And I was like, this is awesome. So like I showed houses on the Tennessee border today and I got a Diet Coke.
isn't that great? But it shows a little bit of her, and she's out there working, right?
Yes. Yep.
That's
Yep.
that's the
Or
thing.
like I made it funny one day and I record because I got a new phone mount I wanted to try. I recorded me going through the drive through and played it off as though I was going to see my drug dealer. And then,
I
oops,
saw
it was
that.
me getting a Diet Coke, and
I
people
saw that.
loved it,
That
and they
was
were
funny.
like, "You are hysterical." So it can
Yeah.
be stuff like it doesn't have to be, "Here's the first communion, here's the baptism, here's my kid's soccer game." No,
Mhm.
but it can still shed a light personally.
Yep.
Um, like the one Kim always goes to is, like, Tito's vodka. When
Oh
she's had a
god.
stressful deal, like, she's hysterical with it, to the
Yeah.
point where I think Tito sent her a PR package once
That's
because,
amazing. As
like,
they should.
she
They're
Right,
in
they
all of
should.
their videos. She should be, like, receiving royalties from Tito's at this point.
Yes, she should be. Roxanne, you gotta figure out where you're going. Okay. Um, these are ones where I don't put a call to action. I know our notes say to, but I don't like doing that because then it does feel too businessy.
Well, so and that's the
Um,
thing. I think that you have to use your discretion. It depends on
yeah.
what your what's the word that we used? Did we use we didn't use tactic. It wasn't a strategy. What
It
was the word
wasn't
that we used in the beginning?
technique.
Technique. There we go. I knew it started with a T. It depends on what technique you're going with here. If you're trying to hardcore convert people, put a call to action in all your posts, right? Most of
Right.
my stuff is on my personal Facebook page. And there's not a lot of posts that I have legitimate like DM me guide and I'll send it to you.
Right.
Comment list. Like there's not a lot of that on there. Those are great things. And I think like this year again, I'm working on Instagram a little bit more. I don't have a lot of like personal friends on Instagram, right? So it's more followers that have just happened organically. Maybe I'll use more of those call to actions there and maybe I'll have a better turnaround for it. But
Right.
the idea is, again, and this goes back to having conversation. If somebody comments on your post, and this is what I do personally, if somebody just comments without having a call to action in their like commenting guide, right? If they just comment something on my post, I'll respond to that comment because I'm trying to keep the momentum of that post going. But I'll message them and be like, "Girl, you have no idea how crazy that was," right? And start
Right.
a conversation. Um, I think people get so lost in the, well, what do I say next? And this just
Right.
reroutes back to, what would you say next? If somebody said that to you, what would you say next? Have a
Exactly.
conversation, be a human, keep the conversation going, ask the question. If you have leads that like comment the guide and then you DM them that guide, hey, thank you for reaching out. I hope you find like a lot of information about this local area and this guide that I'm sending you. Are you already in town or are you relocating from somewhere? Right? Ask them a clarifying question. What's bringing you to Hickory? What's your ideal timeline? Do you have a pre-approval? Like a question that they have to answer, because that keeps the conversation moving along
Right.
better.
Well, and I think the way I think about it is like, okay, if you were at coffee with a friend and telling them that story, what would you say next?
Exactly.
Like
Don't
that's
overthink
exactly what
this.
it is.
Hmm.
No, don't overthink that. All right, let's talk about calls to action though, because I think too many people get hung up in how many likes they're getting and not how many conversations it brings them.
Hmm.
Because you can have a million likes, but if no one's asking you a question, then why does it matter? Like,
Yep.
um, your call to action should have 3 elements, or it should tell people what to do, tell them exactly what they're going to get, and have no pressure. So that's why things like reach out anytime, let me know if you have questions, or the one I hate the most, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call me. That's not a call to action.
No.
That And I see that in so many things. I think the other thing important here to remember is your call to action should not take them outside the platform yet. Because if you're saying, call me or here's my website, I'll tell you right now, Meta's going to squash it.
Yep.
Their algorithm will absolutely squash it. And because they want you to keep those people in that platform. So that's why we're saying, send me a DM, comment list, and I'll message you. If this sounds like you, DM me start. We want to keep them in that platform for a little longer so that Meta doesn't get mad at you and start throttling your posts.
Hmm.
And I've seen so many agents where I tell them, like, they ask me how I do this. I'm like, I don't say call me. I
Hmm.
don't say if you're thinking of buying or selling. Um, Roxanne, you got to get off. So it needs to be, even if you don't have the thing that automates it, you can still say DM me guide or comment this and you can get it to them,
Yep.
because that gets them in your messages or that gets you starting the message. So if you don't have it automated, you can then send the DM and be like, hey girl, what's your email address? I'd love to get this over to you.
Hmm.
Um, and then that also gives you their email to put them into your CRM.
Yes. Hmm. Yep. And
So,
people like to know what the next step is. They like to know what to do, right? So the whole like, if you have questions, they don't know if they have questions.
right,
If they had
exactly. They
they
don't know.
right, they don't know what they would ask, right? So, taking that question, that uncertainty out of it and just like, here, I'm going to give you more information. Ask me for my guide and I'll send it to you. They're like, all right, well, I'll read the guide. Maybe I'll answer the question I don't know that I have.
Right. And like, it doesn't feel salesy. It doesn't feel pushy. It doesn't feel like, oh my, it just doesn't. But at the same time, it gives them a clear next step and it doesn't take a ton of effort to get there.
Right.
Like you're sending a guide, or sending the guide can open the conversation to be like, hey, I know you live, maybe it's a local area guide. I'm using this as an example. Hey, I know you live in this neighborhood. Make sure you check out page blah, 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 because I think there's some stuff you'd like there.
Yep.
Or, oh, hey, this is the question you had. Page 7 answers that for you.
Hmm.
Let me know if you want to go on a deeper dive. We can set up a time to go over it. Stuff like that. It's super easy.
Yep.
This next step, I think, is where people really struggle, though. How do you turn those DMs into appointments, especially without being weird?
Hmm. Well, it's hard too because it depends on if it's a true like lead that's like interested in buying, or if it's just like somebody you know, right? Because we're not
Right.
saying like we're only pitching to, we want the leads, right? But I'm telling you, a coffee date goes a long way with somebody that you
Yes.
know, right?
Yep.
So, and this goes back to again a few minutes ago when I was talking about asking a question, right? You want to have a conversation, and then ultimately we ask for a call or a coffee date, right? But something that if they ask a question, a good one to be like, it's actually, it'll probably be easier if I explain it on the phone. Do you have a minute? Do you want to
Right.
do that?
Yes.
Right?
That's a great one.
This is too much to text. Can I give you a quick
Right.
call? Right? Like something like that. And then if you're trying to set one down the road, right? Like, these are some great questions. I think that it would be super beneficial for you if we had a pre-onboarding call. Monday 1:30. Does that work for you?
Right. Yes. That's
Right.
perfect.
Mhm.
Or, like, I think the other one, like, if you're not ready to move them to the next step, like, you're just starting that conversation, like, is okay, hey, happy to send it over. What area are you focused on?
Mhm.
Like, let's the first step is responding like a human.
Mhm.
And then we can ask that clarifying question, and offer the call of like, hey, I can walk you through this. Because I think the clarifying question is really important, because if you don't, then you may not know what they actually want to talk about. And then you're going to get on this call and not be prepared, or not have, like, maybe it's like, oh, you know what? You asked for that resource, but this is what you really want. Let me send you this one too.
Or
And that,
it could not even be them, right? Like you could be
right.
pouring all this time and energy into something that is never going to happen with these people because they were interested in your guide because their cousin actually lives in Louisiana
Right.
and is thinking about maybe coming to North Carolina or wherever
Exactly.
you're at, right? It might not even be
Exactly.
them. So you're like, "Oh, what's bringing you to the area?" But if you don't ask that, you would never know that it's not them. They're here. They love it here. They're trying to get somebody else to love it here.
Exactly. And I think the mind shift, or the mindset shift, you need to have here is we're not asking for an appointment. We're offering that clarity. We are offering more information. Um, and that will then convert.
Mhm.
That will then turn into, oh yeah, you know what? I haven't seen you in forever, Brenna. So I think it's since you got the new puppy. Do you want to get coffee next week, even though you went to my favorite coffee shop without me last week? Um, I mean, not that that actually happened, but it can turn into something like that. Like, that conversation will grow, and it can be, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we" it sounds like you have a lot of questions. "Why don't we set a time where we're both focused and dedicated to answering these? Let's grab coffee, or let's" maybe it's even a Zoom, like, "Oh, yeah, you work remotely, or you guys are traveling, like, to visit family, but you wanna have this conversation? Yeah, let's set this up for tomorrow before the family gets up and gets crazy in the morning. We'll
Mhm.
knock this one out." There's so many ways you can go about it, but don't ask. Like, you just have the conversation, a natural one, and
Mhm.
it will evolve into what you want it to.
Yep.
Um, you can track this. I think you should. I think it's important, especially if you're counting it towards, like, your daily conversations. But you don't need to, like, overhaul your CRM. Even if you don't have their email, maybe throw them in there and just be like, okay. Or you can, if you just want a clear of to know how this is working, not maybe person specific,
Mhm.
but just each week track. Okay, how many posts did you make? Which post triggered them? How many DMs you got, and which call to action worked? Then in 30 days, look at that data and go, okay, I know these posts get me more DMs that have converted into more conversations.
Hmm.
I need to post more of this type of content.
Yes. I think that's the
Like,
biggest thing is just knowing what
yeah,
works, what resonates, because I could tell you that I get the most engagement on my orange pony things,
yeah, I
right?
love your orange pony. Love your orange
But,
pony.
like, are those necessarily business related? No. Does it move the algorithm? Sure, right? But maybe Alyssa knows that if she's talking about local places to go grab a bite to eat by yourself, she gets a lot of questions about the area, and that's leading to conversation. That led to somebody asking about a property in Belmont and if she was available to go tour it, right? Like,
Right.
knowing where that conversation started from, I think is a big thing, but don't get lost in the tracking this. Ultimately, with this, I forgot what the word was again.
Technique.
Technique is just about keeping the wheel going, right? Like keep
Yes.
doing it. This isn't a 1 week post these 3 things and then you're done. This needs to be a repeatable, consistent, like showing up situation. And it doesn't have to go in the same order, right? We're not
Right.
talking about post a business, post a personal, post an information and keep that same rotation. Mix it up a little bit, but like
Yeah.
just try to keep an even mix of whatever you're putting out there. But ultimately, try this for, I mean, you can't do it for a week, right? Do it for
Right.
30 days, right? Post those consistent pieces 3 times a week for the next month. See what happens.
Yes. And I think the one thing we forgot to touch on here is you also need to engage with other people's content to get the algorithm to push them to yours. So don't forget to send the birthday messages, to hit the like, to leave a meaningful comment on other people's stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe set 20 minutes a day aside to scroll and meaningfully go through and comment and like and do all the things
Hmm.
so that it's pushing them to you, because social media, every platform does not like someone who posts and ghosts. You have to participate with other people.
Yep.
So don't forget that aspect of it either. So I would say, yeah, 20, 25 minutes a day, maybe 30 if you have to create your post from scratch, and 3 times a week at a minimum. And that will help bring you leads from your social media.
There.
All right. I think that's
That's
it.
it. Yep. I think
Yeah.
that's it.
So our next lead generation episode is going to be all about FISBOs. And you and I are going to learn, because I don't do it. And Brenna is the queen of pursuing FISBOs. So we're going to let her run the show next week. On that note, we will see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.